Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined with my mom on the auspicious day of Basava Jayanti, and today we're going to talk about Basavanna.
Yes.
I am a Lingayat, I am a born Lingayat. I did not know a lot about Basavanna, matlab I knew, but I did not know a lot about him. So in the past few days I've been reading up about Basavanna, his life, and why he is of this stature now, like 800 years later. He still remembered and revered at such a high level. So Basavanna was born in 12th century to a very, comfortable, privileged Brahmin family. His mother was Madalambike, his father was Madarasa. And from a very young age, Basavanna had this, you know, a big doubt in his mind about why is society like this. In 12th century India, there was a huge problem of caste system.
Yes.
Even still India faces these problems of casteism, and there was a lot of discrimination against the people of lower caste and even women that were born in higher caste. According to the people, even if you are a higher caste woman, the widows still were treated very badly. No woman was allowed to read, and this was a very common norm back then. This
Yes.
was not something, if we think about this now, it is like a very, we cannot believe over the stuff that happened, but back then it was the norm. And India 800 years ago was a very different picture.
True.
So when Basavanna was born, at a very young age he got this Ishtalinga. All Lingayats wear this Shivling with them, and he got very attached to it. He had all Brahmins later on their life, as they get older, they go through this ceremony called Upanayana and
Geneva.
Janivar, and Basavanna openly opposed against this. He had a lot of reasons for this. One was he had already picked his lord as Kudal Sangama and his Shivling. The other reasons were he did not want to be, given this badge as a Brahmin just because he was born in a Brahmin family. He wanted every person on the earth to have a right to God.
He
And
had a one sister,
yeah, and
Akka Nagama. He said that she should guest for first Geneva function.
yeah, he had a sister also, and women were not
Not
allowed
allowed
to go
go through
through
that
through this
ceremony.
ceremony, and he did not like this. He wanted even the woman, even his sister that he loved so much, to have this connection with God.
Yes.
And there were a lot of problems in the caste system of India that he openly opposed. So
Yes.
at a very young age, he leaves his home. I repeat myself again. He is from a very privileged family.
Yes. Of course.
Then at a very young age, getting very distraught by all the problems of the society, he leaves his home and goes to Kudal Sangama, and he studies there lots of
Ishanya Deva under
yeah,
the
he
guidance of.
studies Vedas and Upanishads, and he becomes this master of a lot of religious texts and everything about India. And
He was an economist. He
yeah,
was
he
very
also studies economics.
economics.
Then later on, he comes back to civilization, as you can say, and he takes this job as accountant, as a
Account
financier
at
of the King
Kalyan.
Bijala.
At
No, in
Kalyan.
the beginning he goes to this place, it's in Maharashtra. His capital used to be in Maharashtra. There is a Pandari.
Pandari.
Pandari was the capital of the Chalukya king Bijala, and Basavanna goes there. He then marries his maternal cousin Gangabike, and he also has to marry the foster sister of the king Bijala. Back
Because
then,
she,
when you are getting famous and all, the king, if he asks you to do something, you have to do it. And maybe even Basavanna wanted to. Who knows? These
no,
are
no,
all
no, he didn't want
speculations.
it.
But he loved them equally,
Yes.
as much as he can. That I have to tell.
Both of them became Vachanakartis. They
Yeah.
became poetess.
Then Basavanna moves to Kalyan. Back then, this was not known as Basava Kalyan. Basava Kalyan is like 50 kilometers away from my home.
Yes.
Chalukya king Bijala captures Kalyan and sets Basavanna as the chief minister of the area. He
Yes.
becomes the minister of the entire empire. Basavanna, but at this point, he does not let go of his religious beliefs.
Yes.
He wants to still bring on many changes in this society.
He started to reform the society.
Yeah, back then there was a. Nowadays, we all have this right to God, mom.
True.
Back then, it did not exist.
It did not exist.
How important is a right to God for a human, ma?
It's very much. It's everyone's right to pray to God.
people of lower castes were not allowed in the temples.
Yes.
Women on their periods were not allowed in the temples. They were not allowed even in their homes
Homes.
at that point. Basavanna got deeply moved by this.
Yes.
Then Basavanna,
And education was the privilege of only Brahmins.
only Brahmins and only Brahmin men.
Men.
All this starts getting to Basavanna, and he does not let go of his religious beliefs even when he is so politically and financially secure.
Secure.
Then Basavanna sets up the first parliament in the entire world. He has set up the first parliament called the
Anubhava Mantapa
in Kalyan. And this was the place where you can be any gender, you can be any religion. If you just had this desire to, get enlightened, get
connection with God.
God, that is all you needed. And Basavanna only, his life motto was only to get people enlightened in certain way.
Yeah. He said that Kayakave Kailasa means work is worship. And Dayave Dharmada Moola means.
Basavanna, in my opinion, he very abhorrently disliked the religious practices back then in India. Basavanna then moves on in his life. He starts doing things in a slowly manner. The main important thing where Basavanna starts, bringing about changes when he starts writing Vachanas. He was the first person that starts writing Vachanas. Vachanas are basically short poems that have like deep philosophical and religious, spiritual meanings.
Spiritual meanings how we have to conduct. Dayave Dharmada Moola means kindness is the base of all religions. Arive Guru means knowledge is our
self-realization
Guru. Self-realization is our teacher. So we have to practice. Again, he said, Kalabeda, Kolabeda, Husiya Nudiyalu Beda, Muniya Beda, Tanna Bandisa Beda, Idira Haliyalu Beda, Anyara Kandu Asaya Pada Beda, Ide Antaranga Shuddhi, Ide Bahiranga Shuddhi, Ide Namma Kodala Sangama Devana, Waliswa Pari. Means we have to conduct, we shouldn't steal, we shouldn't lie. These are the practices he made. Again, he said that the dignity to labor. It is the one of the important things.
No, all these teachings we'll get on to later, Mao. I want to talk about this Vachana factor.
Yes.
Through Vachanas only we have realized the teachings of Basavanna and we have tracked down Basavanna.
Yes.
And this movement he starts in Kalyan only. He starts writing much before Kalyan.
Yeah.
You can actually go and see his Vachanas before he was enlightened, during his enlightenment and after his enlightenment. Before his enlightenment, he has this huge questions, many questions that he wants to ask to Shiva. That why is life so painful? Why am I born like this? He openly he prays to Shiva. If Shiva had the power, he should have made Basavanna as a plant, as a tree. He did not want to be a human and live in this society. Then you start seeing his purity of the soul, his spiritual realizations, they start happening, and his Vachanas then become very different. Tande neenu, tai neenu, bandu neenu, balaga neenu, neenillade nanagare
Mattaru illavayya.
Kudala Sangama Deva. You are my mother, you are my father. You are my everything. Without you, I am nothing. Like you.
Halalladaru haku, neeralladaru haku. Means either you put in water or you put in
milk.
It's up to you, God.
So, after a point, this spiritual enlightenment really interested me, Ma. After a point, he goes through this period when he's questioning God. Then he directly, lets go. And he gives every control to God. If anything good happens to me, it is God. If something bad is happening to me, God wants me to fight and win. Everything he lets go of this desire of control. I am controlling everything. He just lets go and is under the divine control of God. I think that is a very big realization in life.
Big realization.
When you start seeing God is in control of everything. And one of the biggest factors and one of my favorite poems is the poem about the temple. My body is
ಉಳ್ಳವರು ಶಿವಾಲಯವ ಕಟ್ಟರು ಅಯ್ಯ ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಬಡವನಯ್ಯ ಎನ್ನ ಕಾಲೇ ಕಂಬ ದೇಹವೇ ದೇಗುಲ ಶಿರವೇ ಹೊನ್ನ ಕಳಸವಯ್ಯ ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಾ ಕೇಳಯ್ಯ ಸ್ಥಾವರ ಕಳಿ ಉಂಟು ಜಂಗಮಕ್ಕೆ ಅಳಿವಿಲ Sthavara means that is stagnant.
Hmm.
Stagnant things will perish.
Hmm.
But the Jangama means the moving God.
Hmm.
Moving God means the person who is enlightened
Hmm.
will never die.
Hmm.
Uh, means
I.
we don't need a shrine to pray.
Hmm.
Our body is itself a shrine.
Hmm.
So our Atma is our God.
No, the
We have to
importance of
realize
this
this.
Vachana
Hmm.
through the social backdrop at that point is none of the people of lower caste were allowed to go to the
Go to-
temple. So Basavanna tells them, I am a poor man. He tells God himself,
Hmm.
I am a poor man. I am not allowed in your temples. The rich have built these temples. I am not allowed in those temples.
Yes.
So my body itself is a temple,
Hmm.
and my head is the dome.
Shrine. Huh. Hmm.
And he tells his soul is only the God.
Yes, ma.
That is such a beautiful line, ma.
Beautiful line.
That is such a beautiful poem. I do
True.
not have the accessibility to go to the temple just because the society is torturing me. I will claim my body is only a temple for God.
Temple for God. Hmm.
The it is very difficult for a man to have this much of a
Realize.
deep spiritual understanding, like such a deep love. And another point I want to stress a lot
Again,
is
one thing is important. This Thavara means stagnate.
hmm,
Means the temples we build are not
hmm,
that much important. Then the quality of good person means a person should be good. That is
Hmm.
more important.
his entire school of religion, whatever, he did not start this religion called Lingayatism.
He started.
He
there is a
started this
very
belief that he
Huh.
did not name it anything.
yeah. Hmm.
He just wanted people to be in touch with God.
Yes.
For Basavanna, God was Lingapati.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm?
Sharanasati Lingapati.
Lingapati.
Hmm.
He considered himself as a devoted wife to his god Kudala Sangama.
Huh.
Even though he's a man, he claims that he loves Kudal Sangama as much as a devoted wife loves her husband.
Yes, that's true.
This level of devotion is very necessary for you to leave a mark on your history, ma.
Yes.
For
true.
spiritual enlightenment, I don't think there should be any doubt.
Hmm.
That is what I liked in his journey of writing Vachanas. At a point, he's questioning, and he, through various Vachanas, people have broken down. He goes through this period of very darkness in his life where he's questioning everything.
Hmm.
Then the answer comes, and he just lets go and gives everything to God.
Yes. Hmm.
And then in the Anubhava Bantapa, Basavanna starts collecting other people, very talented people.
Gathering other people.
Akka Mahadevi, Allam Prabhu. Like all these people are very noted in the history of India, but lot of people do not know, I believe,
Yes.
the importance of what they were trying to do.
True.
Lingayatism, Basavanna's name, and all these people's name have survived 800 years.
Hmm.
And nobody ever thought to fight for the rights of the untouchables or the women. After Basavanna, only Gandhi fought for untouchables.
True. Hmm.
He abolished, Gandhi did a very huge,
Gandhi and Ambedkar tried.
Gandhi and Ambedkar, both of them. Then the difference between Basavanna and them was 700 years ago.
700.
700 years. Again, all these various,
Bhakti
disgusting
movements.
practices were going on in India.
Hmm.
So the peak happens when all these people are in Anubhava Mantapa and they were preaching a lot of beautiful things.
Hmm.
I challenge everyone that to read a Vachana and to dislike it. You
Yes.
cannot dislike it. It is the actual truth. It is the spiritual truth. You cannot say it is wrong. That is the reason they have survived for so long. So when the peak happens when the son of Haralaya is this cobbler. His story entirely needs another episode.
True.
The atrocities the untouchables were going through back then is we cannot even show them in a movie. They were so disgusting.
True.
When Haralaya's son, Haralaya was a person of a lower caste. He falls in love with with the daughter of a very rich Brahmin man.
Madhuvarasa.
And Basavanna gets to know this. And a person of a lower caste, was not even allowed to look at the woman. But they were in love together. So Basavanna and all his Shivasharanas, they marry them. Before this, only lot of very Brahmins in the area were complaining to the king Bijjala, what is happening in your empire? This person, Basavanna, your chief minister, he is doing all these things. He is trying to let the untouchables inside. He is I kid you not, Basavanna was the first person in India, like in the remembering history, that fought for the rights of women.
In the world also you can say now.
Yeah, I have to read about the entire world, but in India, though, nobody fought for the right of women. A woman was not allowed to read. A woman was not allowed to enter a home. And people, especially in the high caste, even men and women of older age, they started questioning and complaining to the king. And its peak reached when Basavanna got Haralaya's son and the
Madhuvarasa's daughter
married. This happening back then, even now in India, when stuff like this happens in like North India, people get killed and all dumb stuff happens. Even now in India, it is not openly accepted. But Basavanna did this 800 years ago. 8 centuries ago. He is still ahead of us now.
Yes, true.
His thinking was ahead of 2025.
2025.
Even now, in this country, people look down upon interreligious marriages, intercaste marriages. When this happens, all the Brahmins, all the rich people in the empire start, it takes a very violent turn very suddenly. They go to the king and complain the king gets killed.
This happens. Riots
happen because of this marriage. And the king gets killed and they blame the death of the king on Basavanna.
Yes.
The Anubhava Mantapa of Kalyana was the first parliament of the entire world. This was a place where like the greatest minds of that era used to sit down and discuss how to get people enlightened, how to bring about the golden age of man. This was their desire. The society should be better.
Allam Prabhu was its president.
Yeah, Allam Prabhu was his president. And when the king gets killed, all the Shivasharanas scatter. People were chasing down Shivasharanas like how Hitler was chasing after Jews in World War II. The ends that these people met with, I cannot even describe. That was so horrible, and the people were so, against Basavanna and his followers that they were literally, they burned down Anubhava Mantapa, no?
Yes.
They burned down his entire parliament and they were burning down his Vachanas. These Vachanas were considered illegal back then at this point, because people were like, they were corrupting the society with these thoughts. When you read these Vachanas, they are all love. There is nothing but love in those Vachanas. And the job of all these Shivasharanas was to take these Vachanas and hide them so that this movement does not stop, that the world should be a better place. They put their own lives at risk. Basavanna's nephew, Channa Basavanna, I think there should be a movie just on Channa Basavanna. His love for his uncle. He becomes, very attached to Basavanna at a very young age, his nephew Channa Basavanna. And Channa Basavanna is given this task of hiding like thousands of Vachanas. He runs into the forest of Ulavi. This is still in India. In Karnataka, you can go near Hubli. Hubli ta kya thalla? Ulavi. He goes into the deepest of forests. Deepest of forests, and he meets his end. How, that nobody knows.
He was only 22 years old.
He was only 22 and he sacrificed his life
to save the Vachanas.
And to, keep this revolution alive. That India should not be such a dark place where stuff like casteism, women treated so horribly exist.
Yes, Nagu, again, Shivasharanas, how they formed, you have to tell. These Shivasharanas were illiterate people, first of all, because they belong from all castes. They didn't have any education.
Basavanna in his Anubhava Mantapa did not care about your name, your gender, who you are born to, what your occupation was. All he cared was your worth, how much you wanted to be close to a god.
And they educated them. From the basics, alphabet, he educated them. Men and women he educated, and he made them to write the Vachanas, and he enlightened them, and they became, after their knowledge, they became Shivasharanas.
I would love
700 Amara Ganangalu, means they were the highly qualified
700 people.
Around 700
He trained 700 people in the
highly qualified Amara Ganangalu, they are called. Many lakhs together Shivasharanas were there. Molige Maraya, came from Kashmir.
Hmm.
He heard about Basavanna. He came from
People
Kashmir.
were hearing about
Adaya
this
came
revolution, na ma.
from Gujarat. Duggave came from Kerala.
Hmm.
So people from all over the India, Persia, Afghanistan, people came.
They heard
He,
about Basavanna
the
and his revolutionary movement,
revolution
and they all wanted to be part of his
joined. Yeah,
parliament.
yeah, they were the part of the parliament.
Hmm. They came, and Basavanna, it was a place of spiritual enlightenment. All these
And
spiritual
social reformation.
Ha, ma.
Everyone should get means dignity to labor. This one is also very much. He said that no work is less or no more. So we have to
Basavanna's
treat everyone's
Vachanas.
everyone's work is should be respected. Now we are talking about this May 1st dignity to labor. That time only Basavanna said that every work should be treated with equal
Yeah,
respect.
tomorrow is Labour's Day.
Labour's Day.
Yeah, Basavanna, he was way too ahead of his time.
Way too ahead of his time.
And when all Shivasharanas left
And Shivasharana, women, there were around 35 women poetess that time.
Akka Mahadevi was
Akka
one of
Mahadevi
them.
was one of the means her. See, about Akka Mahadevi, we have to make one more episode.
Yeah.
So one thing I will be telling, she is the first women poetess of Kannada. Kannada language. We can also say that if we see the world history, she is the world's one of the best women poetess. What she wrote, and what she says that it is, you have to underline this word. She opposed objectifying woman. This is the first and foremost thing about her. What we can say, she said that the woman is not a
object. Woman is not an object.
She has her soul. That's very
all
important.
This was going on 800 years ago.
She talked about this is a beauty thing. She said that there is nothing like beauty. Only soul. If soul is beautiful, then everything is there. Men and women should get equal respect. So don't treat women like any object. She is having her soul. She is having her own thinking power. She can.
Akka Mahadevi will make a separate video, ma.
Yeah.
We have to tell her entire story. No, you cannot. If we tell directly to them.
No.
Basavanna,
This Akka Mahadevi thing and Allama Prabhu thing. These three people will come together. See, this Sharana Kranti or Sharana movement, what you are telling, no. This is one of the important thing about. She also hears about this Basavanna. She comes from Shivamogga's Udutadi to Kalyana to see the Basavanna. See, this is also very important.
All of them come to this place which has been created by Basavanna. No, we'll go to the end. No.
Yeah.
After the killing of Bijjala and all the Shivasharanas running away, Basavanna also cannot stay in the city.
Yeah.
Basavanna leaves with his wife Neelambike and his, sister and other wife Gangambike and Channa Basavanna all go to Ulavi. They all meet very weird and difficult ends. Very horrible ends.
Yeah.
And Basavanna also meets a very horrible end. He just takes Nirvana in Kudala Sangama. All his life later on, all his mission was left to keep his work alive. Keep the Vachanas alive. And
to uplift the society.
And the most important point I forgot, Mom. Basavanna hated idol worshipping.
Yes, true.
This is the most important point we forgot. He hated idol worship.
He said that if we make too many gods, so people will exploit the people. The priest will exploit the people.
The movie Oh My God, Mom, of Paresh Rawal. He complains that only, God has become a business. 800 years ago, Basavanna complained that don't make God into a business.
Yeah.
God is a very deep spiritual, thing. We do not know what God is, but He is real, and He is inside us. And Basavanna always believed that God is within us. God does not exist in some idol. And if we have such a desire, He gave everybody this Ishtalinga to carry with you. That is your temple. And He still, even after carrying that linga, He still emphasized that your work is more important than linga. The linga always comes second. Work comes first.
Yes.
after all this I read, Noma, how does history and the current situation of Lingayats remember Basavanna? I find it extremely, extremely funny that the person that hated idol worship, people have made him an idol today.
Yes, true.
That is such a sad thing. A man that was so ahead of his time, the ending of oh my god happened to him. But Basavanna could not come and break his statue. Paresh Rawal gets this opportunity of breaking his statue and coming back to life. I feel like if Basavanna came today, the first thing he would do is break his idols. He wanted everyone to get closer to God. It is very rare that a man of such high, thinking, such high, spiritual capabilities comes on the earth, and such a desire to improve the society, to bring about so many social reforms. They happen so rare.
They happen so rare.
And it is a very wrong thing of us Indians, us people of Lingayat Dharma, to make Basavanna into a god. We are demeaning his, the worth. You imagine, mom, how much work it takes for a human to go through all these transformations and the amount of courage it needs to fight things like this.
True.
If you just name him as a god can do anything anytime, ma. Where is the courage then? You are taking away the credits. Even God can do anything. A man cannot do anything unless he has to fight for it.
Yes.
And Basavanna was one of those leaders that fought for what he believed was right, and what he believed was very right. That is why he is still remembered. I don't think
his practices are still we practice that, not that much, but our society means education is in the peak. In South India, education is because of Basavanna. Because he started mathas. He educated people. No, those people spread all over the South India, and they started educating the people, and they converted into mathas. So education is in every village there is a matha, there is a gurukula. They teach the basic education. So in that way, see, in Karnataka, so many Lingayat educational institutions are there.
KLE is one of
KLE,
them.
Karnataka Lingayat
HK is also another one of them.
Or Sharana Basaveshwar institution there. Bhalki Patadevar is there. This Solapur Siddharameshwar institutions are there.
Even though Basavanna...
In every village there is a education provided by Lingayat Mathas. That's why in all over South India, education is more and people are more calm, and this crime rate is compared to less.
Yeah, and the religious
people are very
casteism
balanced.
is also less in
Casteism
southern
is
India.
also less, and people are balanced. They don't behave very hyperactively.
Yeah. Basavanna, even though he had such a short life, he died at the age of 62.
And the women have got the right to speak. That's
You don't speak. Nah, ma. Even though Basavanna died at a very young age, at the age of 62, and the later part of his life was all just combined in running away, getting away.
Yes.
That was his life in the later part. But still his thoughts have, rooted into the things you are saying, no? Like the education system, like the mathas have given so many education, so much education to the people.
All over the world, doctors and engineers, scientists have been provided. From India, we can say 60% of all those things are provided by South India. That's the contribution of Basavanna.
Like all these
in
little
Tamil
things
Nadu,
he did.
Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, everywhere, Kerala, also mathas are there.
No, these little things sprouted into so much after 800 years. And I feel like we have to go back to the teachings of Basavanna.
True.
Actually read. Even myself as a Lingayat, we all should, honor his name. We shouldn't do idol worship. That was the one thing he hated so much. We should not make him into an idol. Instead, we should read his Vachanas. We should read his Vachanas and try to understand what he was telling, what he was talking about, and try to bring about this golden age that he wanted us to have.
Nago, when I go to all those Lingayat functions, there they will be telling that time they did, that time they... No, I will be telling, please plant some trees. Let's make these drives. Clean the cities. these things are not what this
Mm.
idol worship and all those things are not important.
Mm.
Why people spend so much money on all those functions?
Huh.
Spend on this
Yeah.
development of our society.
Spend on the things Basavanna actually
Basavanna
wanted,
actually
no?
wanted upliftment of the
You know,
this
the poor. You do
poor.
stuff like that.
Why you people waste so much 25 to 50 lakhs on functions?
If
That's a waste.
Basavanna was alive, he would have
Everywhere
been.
I will be telling, people will they'll be thinking I'm too much.
Just like Basavanna.
Just like that comes into this Basava Kranti or Akkamadevi, those thoughts no come into us.
Yeah.
Some people just preach. Some people try to practice like me.
Yeah, this is the video about Basavanna on Basava Jayanti. I hope you guys liked it. My mom is very deeply involved in Basavanna, his teachings and Vachanas of various Shivasharanas and Shivasharanis. And
I have translated to them to English.
yeah, she has translated a lot of them on her YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to her YouTube channel. And studying about Basavanna and reading about his teachings and Vachanas has sprout a new seedling in me, ma. It has given me a new inspiration, a new thing that I can read into more.
One thing I would say, nagu hittala gida maddala. That's a proverb. Means what we find easily available, no, we don't value. That's it has Basavanna has become like to us Lingayats. If we think about other leaders, we will be so much interested. That's Ghar ki
Basavanna is his Kalyan Anubhava Mandapa is 50 kilometers away from home. One day we'll go, ma.
Yeah,
we'll make
sure.
a proper vlog about everything. We'll read everything. And I genuinely want if the people that are watching this video to go and read some translations of Vachanas.
I'm telling
you will be so impressed. We read so much about Stoicism, about various philosophies of the world. I personally have read a lot of Stoic books from Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus. Basavanna is our own. He lived 50 kilometers away from my home. And his teachings are so good.
Yes.
And I had no idea.
How many times I told?
You have told a lot of times.
No.
That's it for today's videos, guys. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.